Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So today I am continuing my series of reviews by taking a look back at Countdown number 26. So I've done reviews of all of the previous issues of Countdown, and since it is Countdown, you start with issue 51 and read down to issue number 1. So if you want to see my previous reviews and get caught up, you can find a playlist with link in the description box. So issue 26 is written by Paul Dini, with Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti. Keith Giffen was the story consultant, and Scott Hollins did the artwork, and Tom Chu did the colors, and Ken Lopez did the lettering. So the cover's pretty good. I actually like it a lot. I tend to be a fan of covers that have the character centered really well and aren't overly busy. This one actually is a little busy, but it's done really well. So you can have a lot going on a cover. It just has to... It's hard to explain, but it has to look good. It's oversimplifying it, but it's really true. I think it looks good. And the blue and yellow coloring on the monitor, it's a nice contrast. So we'll go ahead and start off with the first page. We see the monitors there are all having a meeting, and this issue is a big exposition dump. I think at this point in Countdown, the writers realize they have a lot going on and they need to kind of get the ball rolling. So the monitor, one of the monitors is talking to all of the other ones, and he's essentially recapping what we know as readers, but he's going through it for the monitors. So he's talking about how the Monarch is going around the multiverse, from universe to universe, breaking through the source wall, building up this huge army, and in addition to that, there's all these other events going on, like their brother monitor who's gone rogue, essentially, with the Challengers, and all kinds of other events like Forerunner turning against them. So what he is showing them, and this is a really cool panel, this is probably my favorite panel from the issue, I guess that's why I used it for the thumbnail, but anyways, he is showing them the Monarch going around the multiverse, just crushing all opposition, and the Monarch's really just doing it now to train up his troops, and because his armies are continually growing, and he's got the crime society there with him, so his army is really, really powerful. In addition to Forerunner and his army and the crime syndicate, he's got quite a few others too. So they recap that, and then he actually talks a little bit about Karate Kid. So this is the first time we get some real information on what's going on with Karate Kid. We've seen him quite a bit, and we know that he has an illness that he's trying to find a cure for, but they say here that his body is carrying a critical catalyst for the crisis that is probably coming, because with all these crazy events happening at once, they know that, there's a crisis coming, and that's really what he's telling the other monitors, that they can't just watch anymore, that they have to act. And he also points out something which is really interesting, that, like with Karate Kid being a catalyst, every time you think he would be stopped by something or someone, he ends up being helped along, like he is being manipulated. So that's one thing this monitor is observing, is that a lot of things are happening that don't seem like they should be able to happen, like Jimmy Olsen having superpowers and how he can't control them, but they activate when they are needed, and all kinds of different things. He is speculating that all of the different events that are going on are actually being manipulated by one entity. So that includes what's going on with the monitors themselves, what's going on with the Monarch and all that. Basically everything happening in Countdown, he's starting to realize is being probably all orchestrated by one entity. So then we get to this page, and just look at the bubble there, the speech bubble. That is a lot of text. So really it's just recapping everything. He's telling the monitors what's going on, but we get a little bit more information, so that's always good. And the art's really good throughout, and the coloring's always really good. They talk a little bit too about how it seems strange that their friend monitor, or their brother monitor, is helping Challengers when they are currently fighting each other. So yeah, at the end of the last issue, Jason Todd shot Donna Troy, but it is revealed that this was part of a plan to escape from the extremists. But we'll get back to that in a second, because the Monitor who's been talking finally gives his ultimatum, and he says, "We must act as monitors despite our growing individuality before we are corrupted by an unstable multiverse. We must act now." And one of the other monitors says, "What do you propose?" And he says, "I propose we go to war." So then the other monitors are like, "How has it come to this? Can we wage war?" And then he says, "You still act as though we have a choice." You know, he shows Mary Marvel what she's been doing with Eclipso, which is another thing that's going on. He recaps how the source wall has been broken time and time again, how there's a crisis is coming and they should be able to see it. And then all of the other monitors start to join in. We get this cool full page, splash page that I think looks really good. And yeah, he's finally got all of the monitors working together. And then we jump back to Jason Todd and those guys. So Kyle Rayner's basically attacking him and fighting, and then Donna Troy gets up. Turns out she wasn't killed. She kicks him and hits him, and then the Monitor stops them, and he explains that it was all a ruse and that he knew Jason was going to take his gun, and that they kind of worked it out between each other silently, and that he lowered the power on his gun before Jason shot. So they teleported a short distance away, so they need to keep moving, but then the Monitor here realizes his others are looking for him. So then we go to the next page, and this is really crazy. You see LexCorp here, and this is on Earth 15, I guess, all wrecked and destroyed. You see Lex there, he's bleeding, and Superboy Prime picks him up and flies off. So this is kind of confusing, but I read a little bit about this. I guess at the end of Sinestro Corps War, Superboy Prime dons this black Superman suit, and he flies over to Earth 15, and he takes his anger out on Lex here because he blames him for the other Alexander Luthor's failures. So then we catch up with the Monitors again. They are doing a little recap. These are kind of the main two right now, and they're glad that the Monitors are working together, but they still have a lot to do. And then he says again, "There is no doubt in my mind that these events are being orchestrated by a single will." Let me see on the next page. Darkseid. So all of these figures here are like chess pieces, and we see him occasionally throughout the series moving them around. I don't think moving the pieces literally affects the characters, but it just shows that he's the one pulling the strings. So basically everything in Countdown is being orchestrated by Darkseid. So that's all for this issue. Unlike most of the previous issues, there aren't any bonus pages at the end, but that's alright. I thought it was pretty good overall, and it filled in some gaps. Can't wait to review issue 25. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications. YouTube often doesn't tell people when I put up content, so with the notifications you're more likely to be aware of it. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't, and as always, thanks for being a part of DC Fans United.
End of line.